Let's in the area of health. There's so many things out there that are confusing people. Um, that we don't know what's the right way to live anymore. What would you say in regards to living a healthy lifestyle?
Yep, that's a very important question. So, the first thing, in my estimation, very first thing that one must do or should do in order to achieve a certain amount of personal freedom is drop the ego. Now, what is the ego? As we go along, we have to define every word. So ego, the way, in the sense that we use it today, philosophically, is inflated theories about oneself. 85% of the population of the world has that. And it is the paint or the plaster that you put all over yourself, as it were, so that you can appear strong and important to others. All kinds of reasons why we have an ego, because we were lied to from the very beginning of birth. First the parents, then the schools, the government, the teachers, the colleges, the way of life itself. One thing that you must watch out at this point is you can't blame them because it wasn't their fault either. Because those who went before them lied to them also. It's a long, long chain of causation that goes right back to the beginning of man's creation. Too complex to go into at this moment. But it's nobody's fault. And when you reach course 14 of the Path of Hidden Knowledge, you will see that more or less of a secret in law number 12, I believe it is, that was discovered by Webster Edgerly, as to nothing being anybody's fault. I could not accept it. When I was in LA, I accepted 80% of all the other laws from 1 to 10, but then from 10 up, I couldn't accept it. So that because of that missing 20%, I didn't understand the whole thing.
Now, was that more of a metaphysical nature or physical?
Metaphysical nature.
Yeah.
And when I was considering putting those 12 laws into course 14 of the Path of Hidden Knowledge, I accepted the 20% that hadn't been accepted, and I had a transformation, a revelation. I'm not talking about the first transformation, nor the second. This was like the third. I was actually driving my car, going to the restaurant, and all this stuff just pouring into me. I told myself, well, you better be careful. Everything is coming too fast. Slow down, get to the restaurant, park the car, and then write all this down. Go into the restaurant, started writing on the edges of the pages of the book because I didn't even have a notebook with me. And I consider that my third transformation. And that had to do with nothing is anybody's fault. Now, once you understand that law, then it's very much your fault if you break it. Did you hear that? If after you accept it and you break that law, then you're hurting yourself by it, because instead of realizing that others are blind like you have been, following the blind, unless you see that, you will tend to be angry at the rest of the world. So I experienced all that. So this is leading now into what was the original question?
How do we live a healthy lifestyle today with all these different suggestions that are given to us? Oh, you could be healthy by taking this or doing that, and it gets to the point where there's so much confusion out there that really it gets to the point where you just don't know what's true and what's not true and what to do. So
Right.
how do we live a healthy lifestyle?
Right. So I brought all that out to show you the importance of dropping the ego. Now that you are who you truly are, you can start. And you, in the process of cleaning up that ego, you have gotten rid of all the lies and traps that you've been in, that we have been in. And as you release all of these traps, you start having revelations and ideas of your own. So your confidence grows tremendously. You begin to realize, for example, that medicine in this country is a joke. You begin to realize that your body is your best friend. And your body responds to what you think. And also the physical aspect, which is the food you eat. I'll give you an example. I'm 80 years old, 80. And I've never been sick other than the usual colds. I was never sick my whole life, seriously, until last year when I drove myself to the hospital because I stepped on some plastic and my left foot got infected and I had to have a minor operation. So they did that. And since I believed what I'm telling you now, I never did anything about insurances. So apparently, they probably couldn't conceive how come that I was so innocent and so virgin as far as drugs and medicine are concerned. So they put me under every test they could think of. They gave me a medicine every half hour, around the clock for 8 days. So after 8 days, I came home with a case of edema. They told me it couldn't be cured. I cured it. I have an article about this incident, which you should read because it tells you a lot of things, a lot of lies in this life. But I will tell you also, as you learn what these lies are, Don't discuss them with the average person, because they don't know what you know. And you want to discuss with other people about the things you know, but you have to suffer through in silence until you achieve the power to be with yourself. Because you are your own best friend. That inner self, which is now free, is your best friend. And your body is a best friend also. So, when it comes to health, these medicals, they'll tell you anything. They love to play God with your body. But they don't know either. They know more than I do about the human body. That's what they went to college for. But they don't know what made the body. They don't know. They don't think about those things. They only think about what the drug companies told them. And they only know that they can charge pretty high because a person is helpless when he's sick. So he'll pay all kinds of money to get well. But you have another complication in this society. You have the fear of death. The fear of death has been put into our minds by religions. Because if they invented the devil, then they have to invent God. And if you're a bad boy, the devil will get you. So we have a society that's totally influenced by these lies. Because if you have ever been outside of the body, as I have, many times, not once, but many, I'm not able to do it at will yet. That's true. But I've been outside many times. When you're outside, it is orgasmic. It's freedom, true freedom. And chances are you will come across that brilliant, white, silvery light, which I interpreted when I saw it many times also as omniscience. At that moment of brilliancy, you know everything. And that is what God is. So, people being afraid to die, of course nobody wants to die, I don't either. But we're afraid. We were made afraid of it. People crying, dressed in black. And you even have to pay money so that your body can be disposed of in the way that you see fit in accordance with the law of metaphysics. It's really something. But it's nobody's fault. So, how does that fit when you ask yourself, I was told to love my enemies? I look across the street and I see three men. Number one idiot is part of the 85%. He just follows, he's blind and he follows the blind. The second one is a criminal. he committed the worst crime that you can commit against the survival of an individual, which is murder. And the third one is a child molester. He molested children for whatever reason. And I'm to love them? Now we need to analyze. This is very, very important to that one simple question you made. Because if you know these things, you not only will understand the kind of life that you're living much better than one does right now, and one knows how to deal with it without feeling guilty about anything. So, what is the definition of love? What do you think is the definition of love? For example, people don't know. If they did, they wouldn't pick on people to love that, and they have a lot of trouble with these people. But if you know what love is, and I wish I had known when I was younger, because they don't tell you these things after you're born. So what do you think it is?
Well, it has to do with admiration for something and respect. You know, a desire to be connected to, a part of, you know.
Yeah, I would say so. Very good. Admiration and respect. I admire Beethoven. I respect that man and the pains, the suffering he went through to write those 9 symphonies, which are representative of the 9 most important cycles in the life of an individual. That's my own personal discovery. And I have it all written on course number 14 of the Path of Hidden Knowledge. And I respect this man because of my admiration for him. Now, let's make it a little bit more complex, and it will become even easier. What is the definition of admiration?
To admire someone.
Yeah, but what is the definition of that?
To appreciate them for what they can do.
Okay, very good. All right. And respect?
To feel a high regard for someone or something.
Right, because that person has created something important, and now you put them high. For example, Beethoven, creator, is very different from those 3 guys I see over there. So, if I say I love them because I went to church this morning, it doesn't make sense. But there is a way of loving with a small L and a way of loving with a capital L. I do not admire those 3 men. They're 3 idiots. Stupid. Worse than animals. At least a cat and a dog, they're very faithful. So, I certainly don't admire them. But I can say that I respect the fact that they are human beings created by the same force that created me. And they are here on this planet going through lessons of their own. So one day they can wake up and wake up in the light. And that's the answer. Does it make any sense to you?
Yeah. I still, when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle, well, I guess I understand that removing the lies and the ego um, is a big part of it, and I guess the foods that we eat play a role um, in all of this. So yeah, I guess that answers my question.
Well, no. Actually, there is a part of it that I didn't answer
Okay.
that you're referring to right now. And that is that man doesn't know the purpose of life itself, nor his own purpose. So he thinks that he has to spend his life making money. So if he knows how to manufacture vitamins, yeah, he reads in a book that you're supposed to put these ingredients in these vitamins to do you good. And they do up to a point. Because I know for a fact, because I have spent thousands of dollars on vitamins. There are vitamins and there are vitamins. There are concerns that sell vitamins that are from sources that are much more real and authentic than other organizations that sell the same vitamins that come from a cheap source. Then you have the confusion of the medicos because nobody knows for sure anything. And I am telling you again, the only time you're sure of anything is when you keep our mouth shut. Our mouths shut and deal with ourselves. Find out what the truth is by ourselves. And if you are true to yourself, to oneself, then he should see the truth there. We are our own best doctors. So, doctors, for example, medicos, are angels in trauma. You have an accident, you cut your leg off, you rush to the hospital, they sew it back together. They're angels. Dealing with everyday illnesses, they aggravate the illnesses because they give you drugs. They give you drugs that remain in your gut, as it happened to me. And that I still have. They're still being expelled. And for a little operation on my foot, this is a matter of experience. I'm not inventing this. In fact, I wrote some updates on it. For a little operation that I paid the surgeon directly, gave him a check for $430. He was pretty good. Day after finding out that I had gotten Medicare B, how much do you think they charged the government on my account? Give me a figure. How much do you think?
$5,000.
5,000. 5,000 is what I paid them out of my money to begin with.
Oh yeah.
They charged me 200, close to 200, $250,000. Now, does that answer the question of what's going on in this country? Greed, money, give me. But I don't get angry at it anymore, because that's the way it is. A cat has been trained to have a bowel movement outside by scratching the earth, making a little hole, and doing it in it. And then he pulls the earth back up. That's the instinct. He can't help it. He's obeying a chain of causation. So, when people obey these laws of causation, as the blind following the blind, that's what they're doing. And therein lies the danger of studying some of this stuff, because you become free. Then you have to deal with those who don't want to be free. So one has to be well immersed in personal freedom to understand all that I have just finished saying. And that is the answer to your question. More complete than before.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help any?
Yeah, I would say. I'm thinking. Do we have time to go into another question, or do we want to?
Yeah, just one more.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be short or long, but how would you say that when you reach the point of personal freedom, and you're in moving from a physical to a metaphysical, and you're in between the two, how do you deal with that? How did you come to deal with these two worlds, if you would, if that's the correct way to say it? Did you experience anything when you started to get to more of the metaphysical side, when you removed all these lies, and was there a different experience of that, things that you had to deal with?
Yeah, quite different. It brought up anger, blame, and you have to. And every time you deal with that, you learn.
So when you say anger and blame, what of about different people in your life, or just the things that are happening around you?
Everything that's happening around you, by that 85% out there.
So it created anger in you. So until you got to the point where you said, "I'm not going to allow this to affect me."
No, you can't do things by willpower. Metaphysically, you become free by understanding what it is. That's why I'm such a pain in the neck when I talk about these things. I keep saying, define it. So, you have to understand. And at first, you don't understand. Because if you will notice very carefully, the people who go to psychologists and psychiatrists, according to society, there's something wrong with them. Or they put themselves there themselves because they think that there's something wrong with them. But there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they're different from the rest of the the rebellion, the herd. So they, as a result of blaming themselves, they become disoriented. So they go to these supposed psychologists that know everything about the mind, but they're very materialistic. So they patch them up in such a way that, and then send them out to that 85% herd so they can do, and they actually do a little bit better. They can put up with the lies a little bit better because they're using lies also. They reason, oh, before I was pure and sensitive and I tried to do my best and I was put down. Now I'm going to play their game. So when you, after freedom, you go through all of these changes. Every single one of these changes. Until you see the secret that is involved in the 12th secret in course number 14. And that's why I put that last. It's the last thing of the whole course. Because it's so difficult to accept. If a person has a strong ego, like I did, being a performer, you would be in front of people all the time. You have to look good. You have to smile. You have to shake hands. You have to play well. That's what you were taught. Mom and Papa want you to perform in front of their friends. So you go through all of that.
Where would you say this shift took place? Like if you were taking this course, and you reached like say where I am now, where would you say that shift between the physical and metaphysical started to happen?
There's no such time.
Yeah.
It is happening now, this moment. I'm speaking, not for you to believe what I say, but I'm speaking my mind, and you are thinking about it. And gradually, every day, this goes on and on and on, and you are always not going to the metaphysical side. You are balancing the physical, which you already know well of, with the metaphysical by thinking. Like that German mystic used to say, you have a mind, you have an intelligence, and you reason. Therefore, reason. There's nothing wrong with them. There's only something wrong with intelligence and reason before you are free, because it is held down by the aberrations of life and the lies of life. In the process of eliminating these lies, that is all. The whole secret is simply eliminating the lies.
And after you eliminate those lies, then what comes next? The metaphysical?
You suffer.
Suffer.
Then you have to put up, before I used to lie like them, I used to get along with them fine. Now I don't lie anymore. I see what happens is that you find new, true friends. So if you have 3 friends in your life that are really real like you have a world in your hands. That's why one of the goals of personal magnetism study is to have 100 true friends. If you have 100 true friends that are like you are, they don't all have to like the color blue like I do, but they like color. See? Another one likes bright red. Another one likes green, light green. They're different, but they're all together. It's like a pyramid. Here's the pyramid in Egypt. On the bottom of the pyramid, there's all of these beings climbing the pyramid, scratching their way through life. When they reach the tippity top of the pyramid, there's no time or space. They're all meshed in into one. So they all agree on top. So you know a friend is a friend when he likes the horses, you like dogs. It doesn't matter. You both like animals. You see? That's what's important. So you develop gradually a new set of friends.
And does that bring you out of the suffering?
Well, the suffering is mostly because the past crowd does not accept you now because you're way out. And you made the mistake of opening your mouth too often. That's right. Now, for example, recently I have gone to a lawyer in the process of making a will, and I found she was young and pretty and very nice. I can tell. I can look at a person and tell you everything about him. I felt that I could be myself, my real self, and my own determinism. Because I can play games. Another thing about being free is you can act like anybody you want. You're going to learn that now in course number 10 and 11. 11 and 12. Beginning mastery and advanced mastery. You can play any game you want. But now it's under your self-determinism. It's not because you're playing it because you have to in order to be accepted. I could care less what anybody thinks of me. Simply don't care. When I tell you to do the mirror technique, you've got to do it to the point where you don't care what anybody says. You are it. But not the false self that you were before. You are real. That's what it's all about. It's a simple thing, difficult to get there simply because everyone around you is only things, the 5 F's? Find them, feel them, and forget them. Find them, feel them, and forget them. 4 F's. That's all that people are interested in. Now I had money, greed, sleep, food, and then the 4 F's. So, you can become, to end off this, you can become a free being with all of this garbage and all of these lies that religion put out about somebody sitting on the cloud playing a harp, deciding what should happen to you. Now, I'll leave you with this thought. It is said in the old musty books that you were made in God's likeness. Therefore, if you are in God's likeness, you can do what He does. Maybe you are as powerful in quality, but not yet in quantity. I'll leave you with that thought.
Okay, very good.